All right, getting all set up. Guess who's here? All right. Hi guys, it's Stephanie and I am talking about food, and it is one of my favorite subjects. Absolutely one of my favorite subjects. I am an empowerment coach. I'm a life coach. I'm a health coach, and part of my health coaching outside of working with people with chronic illnesses and disabilities is working with people who do not have any illness but do want to improve their lifestyle as far as eating or exercise, or maybe just diagnosed with something that they don't know how to navigate through the healthcare system. As an advocate of 14 years, I have extensive experience with that. As a professional patient of 35 years, I have extensive history and experience in that. But as far as the health coaching goes, that's just been over the past few years. But essentially, I've really been doing it for myself my entire life, of course, especially since my adulthood. So once we're out on our own and we have to all of a sudden fend for ourselves and start cooking for ourselves and developing a new relationship with food, there's this part of us that's like, oh my gosh, I'm free. I can eat cookies all day right now if I wanted to. I can eat pizza for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. This is amazing. Anyway, so I'm going to talk a little bit about that food relationship that we have and a little bit of how it develops. Just a sneak peek of it, though, because I really do encourage you to set up a coaching appointment with me, of course. Packages always save you money. And I'm just going to leave you with a random fun fact for the day. So when we were back in the primitive times, and our ancestors were hunting and gathering and needing that energy to provide for their families, both as men and women in different ways, they craved sugar because that sweetness, it actually gets them that energy. And sorry, I was distracted by Apollo like usual. So it gives you that energy. On a primitive level, we are programmed to crave energy, to crave sugar. So therefore energy, right? So that gives us that survival mode, and that gives us that fight or that motivation for the day. But then there's the crash, right? Especially because of how our sugar is processed and just full of horrible toxins, and the whole process of sugar these days is just crazy. So random fun fact is that I want you to start thinking about how you are getting your sweetness. And because like I said, on a primitive level, we all crave sugar. And I am not going to, as a coach, as a health coach, as an empowerment coach, as a chronic illness coach even, I am not going to tell you to go on a certain diet if you come to me. What I do is I work on your relationship with food. And so one part of how I do that, I'm just going to give you a little tidbit of what I do with that, and then go into another video describing more, is I do suggestions based on your lifestyle. And so we do a process of getting to know your routine and your own lifestyle. But through that, then, if you do have a sugar and sweet tooth, we do get into that. So we have a part of our brain called the mesolimbic system or pathway. And so that part of our brain, that correlates with the reward center in our brain, and it gives us that hit or that high when we have things like sugar, caffeine, sex, drugs. There's a lot of things that come into play, really, whatever, or working out excessively, especially, or whatever gets you that hit, that is that reward center and lighting up. And there's eating addiction that correlates with that as well. And just other addictions, it's just that high. So anyway, moving back to the food relationship. So we go through that period where, we are free. And so, our brain obviously doesn't reset. Our brain is programmed from childhood. And so what happens then we start having, you know, in our adulthood or whenever we are free, whenever we go to college or move out on our own. And even if you're, you know, it doesn't matter when that is. Or even if you move to, you know, a space in your own home that maybe your parents have built for you, which is a huge common thing with different types of disabilities. So a lot of times people or their parents will have them build like a mother-in-law suite in the back, and they'll be living out there, and it feels like your brand new own apartment. So it doesn't matter how you live on your own or where it is or how far away it is from your parents' house, but the fact is that there is still that little bit of freedom, even if your parents still cook for you, right? Because you're no longer in their house, so you can eat when and whatever you want. So what happens then, that really goes throughout the rest of, you know, your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, if you don't catch it, if you don't develop a health issue, if you don't find reason or motivation to make any changes, then you start actually developing these habits that become a routine. And there's just a whole process to it, right? And so when we start doing that and we don't stop it, we are just essentially rewarding ourselves consistently for that freedom that we experienced when we became college students or free for the first time. And there's many addictions that we reward ourselves for, right? So we have an excuse as to why we need a beer or a drug or a cigarette or a food or a drink that may not be the best for our health. So that's when we get into more of deeper work, obviously, but that comes along with my coaching. So because what I do is I give you why. I give you the reasons why. So if you come to me with a problem and you say, why is this happening? I am going to take you on a path that will find that answer. 100%. I have been asking why since I was a little girl about literally everything in my life. I am an extremely inquisitive, curious person that has to know the why of everything. If I don't know why, then I won't do something. So that is huge with food. And it's huge in our relationship with our bodies. So if we don't know why we're doing something, it's not a long-term lasting motivator. So if we're like, okay, so do this just to lose weight, or do this just because you got diagnosed with cancer, or you just got diagnosed with a heart defect or lupus or a chronic illness of any kind, diabetes, or, you know, anything, the list goes on. I just got diagnosed with this, so now I'm going to fill in the blank. Okay. That's a motivator. And it takes courage to step into that and truly create long-lasting change. However, at the same time, unfortunately, we as human beings are conditioned to need something huge to happen in our lives to change these negative behaviors that get us into bad situations or unhealthy situations. That's why you'll see on my website, at least right now, I am updating it here and there. But, you know, one of my favorite things that I wrote on there was, how bad do you want to feel good? How bad do you want to feel good? What is it going to take for you to want to make changes in your life? And if you are feeling in your body right now like you want to turn the video off just by me saying that, if you feel triggered in any way, if you feel like, ew, I don't even want to hear this, that is your body and your mind responding to that information because you need it, right? So I hope that taught you a little bit of something, maybe gave you something to think about for the day. And I am excited to talk more about the food relationship thing, which is maybe you're starting to find out one of my favorite things, working with all people, because we all have a relationship with food. We all have food issues, eating issues, like whether that is, and I'm careful to use the word issue, but because that insinuates there's a problem there, but we all have a food relationship, right? And majority of us, I'm going to say, we have a food relationship that we would like to change a couple things with. And so that's what I mean when I say issues. ahead and end it, and I hope you guys have a happy, good day and weekend. All right, bye. He's giving me a hug. Is that good luck for the video? Is that good luck?